हो गई अटेंडेंस रजिस्टर तो लाके जल्दी दो.
हो चालू आहे कॉन्फरन्स पण एवढी झाली की very good morning to one and all. I heartily welcome to all the dear participants, the inaugurator of today's international e-conference on reimagined William Shakespeare in the perspective of plays and poetry. I heartily welcome today's chairperson of this international conference, Dr. Bolke B.R. Sir, Principal of Mahatma Phule Mahavidyalaya, Kingaon. I would like to heartily welcome to the inaugurator of today's international conference, Dr. Mallikarjunji Kharge Sir. I would like to also heartily welcome to the today's resource person, Dr. Injela Zaini ma'am, research scholar from USA, America. I heartily welcome to all the dignitaries. Please be present in this international conference. Now, I would like to request to the today's inaugurator of this international conference to inaugurate the conference. First, I would like to introduce about Dr. Mallikarjunji Kharge sir. Dr. Mallikarjunji Kharge sir is working as a director, National Service Scheme (NSS) at Swami Ramanujit Marathoda University, Nanded. Also, he is working as associate professor, Department of English, Srimati Sushila Devi Senior College, Latur. He is having 25 years teaching experience at UG and PG level. Sir has guided 10 PhD students. Under his guidance, 5 students has got PhD. Sir, he has given a speech, a talk on at various HRDC and academic staff colleges. I heartily welcome to the versatile personality of English literature, Dr. Mallikarjunji Kharge sir, for inaugurate this international conference. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for good morning, one and all. शिव छत्रपती शिवाजी बहुउद्देशीय ग्रामीण विकास सेवा भावी शिक्षण संस्थास Mahatma Phule Mahavidyalaya, Kingaon, District Latur, Maharashtra. The Department of English and the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of the college has organized one-day international e-conference on Shakespeare Reimagined, New Perspectives on the Plays and Poetry. The chairperson of this e-conference, Honorable Principal Dr. Bhavanji Bodke sir, who is also the BOS member of Swami Ramananda Tirth Marathoda University, Nanded. Today's keynote speaker, Injelia Zaini ma'am, who has joined us and who is also the research scholar, Shakespeare Library, Washington, DC. The organizer, Dr. Prabhakar Swami, who is also the coordinator of IQAC, the convener of this e-conference, Dr. Ananta Somuse, the head department of English, my friends, Dr. Sadashiv Varuvate, who is the librarian of the college, and Dr. Bharat Badade, sir, who is the NSS program officer of the college, and faculty members, and all the enthusiastic participants, admirers of William Shakespeare, who have virtually joined from all over the corners of India and abroad. At the outset, I would like to congratulate the organizers and their team for taking painstaking efforts in organizing such a beautiful event, and as they have provided us, all of us, this intellectual feast on William Shakespeare, the Bard of Avon. Let me formally announce that this one-day international e-conference on Shakespeare Reimagined, New Perspectives on the Plays and Poetry has been inaugurated, and the next session will be open for fruitful discussion. I believe that this e-conference is not only limited to the Department of English, but also to the other departments, readers, viewers, and the lovers of Shakespeare. As we all know that Shakespeare died more than 400 years ago, at high school and university, students are still required to study Shakespeare and his plays and sonnets. I am one of those students who in my 12th standard studied his sonnet number 116, Let Me Not to the Marriage of True Minds. I still remember the poem very well. There are so many examples, my dear participants, but I would like to focus just a few of them. For example, King Lear is world famous tragedy of William Shakespeare, which is translated and adapted in various languages of the world. As we are from Maharashtra, I remember one Marathi play, Nata Samrat, written by Vishnu Vaman Shirvadkar, which is inspired from Shakespeare's King Lear, but it has its own originality and greatness. Dear participants, we all know that approximately more than 500 plays and 660 films are based and inspired on the themes of Shakespearean drama. Shakespeare and his work have a special place in the heart of Indian cinema. I would like to quote few of the cinemas, Hindi cinemas based on Shakespeare's plays. For example, Galiyon Ki Raslila, Ramlila, based on Romeo and Juliet. Makbul, based on Macbeth. Omkara, on Othello. Haider, on Hamlet. And 10 ml Love, A Midsummer Night's Dream. Dear participants, over 4 centuries ago, a literary genius was born, a man who never died and most certainly never will. As we all know that Shakespeare's contemporary Ben Jonson wrote that Shakespeare's work was not of an age, but for all time. As we all know that Shakespeare composed around 37 plays and 154 sonnets. I will not go into detail all those things as we are eager to listen to today's keynote speaker, Zaini ma'am. But before I conclude, I would like to focus on students who are not only studying Shakespeare's works today, but stage productions and film adaptations of his plays continues to bring new life both to the poet and the playwright. So before I conclude, I take this opportunity to request you all to encourage our students to see the live performances and plays or films of these works whenever possible. I would like to quote, all the world is a stage and all the men and women merely players, and all of them have their exits and entrances, and one man in his times plays many parts. Dear friends, I will not take much more time, but before I conclude, I would like to thank the organizer who have provided me this opportunity, invited me to be the inaugurator. And I would like to once again congratulate all the organizers, their team, for selecting this beautiful topic for this webinar. Thank you all for your patience listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful guidance and inaugurating this internationally conference. Really, really, sir, you are told about that Shakespeare is really a great person, a great man. Shakespeare has been translated into all over the world in near about all languages. We can see the literature of Shakespeare. Also, here are so many lovers of Shakespeare, readers, researchers, and lovers of Shakespeare. Those who have participated, contributed to this conference. Near about 54 research scholars have sent their articles for this international conference. I'm very much thankful to all. Sir has given one advice to all of us that we should show the live performance of William Shakespeare's plays and films. Sir, I would like to say about this. In my college, on every Saturday, there is a film hour, and in that film hour, we are showing them the short films, the short videos about William Shakespeare's tragedies, comedies, and their tragic comedies, historical plays, and in our college annual gathering, um, we have played one play by William Shakespeare, Richard III, which has been played by my third year students. They have played this play on the stage. I'm very much thankful to you, sir, for giving your valuable time and inaugurating this internationally conference. Now, I would like to invite today's keynote speaker, resource person, Dr. Injela Zaidi, ma'am. About ma'am. Ma'am is actually Angela Zaini, ma'am. She is doing her PhD in Jaipur National University, Jaipur. She has got a fellowship of Folger Shakespeare Library Fellowship. It is from Washington, DC, States of America. Ma'am is the gold medalist of BA Honors, University of Rajasthan. Ma'am has also attended the courses at teaching English as a foreign language, TEFL. Ma'am has also worked as various institutes. She is having an experience of community across culture British Council 2022. Ma'am is also university teaching the University of Hong Kong. She has done these courses. She has also cleared the national eligibility test conducted by UGC in 2021. Ma'am has the research. Ma'am is currently she is the research fellow at Folger Shakespeare Library. From October 22, May 21 to May 22, she has worked as assistant professor English at Maulana Azad University, Jabalpur. She has also worked as a lecturer of English literature in Muslim Balika Mahavidyalaya, Jaipur. We have very versatile personalities. She has also published her various research papers. She has also blog. She has also wrote her blog. Should Ophelia die in the 20th century? I am very much thankful to the Angela Zaini ma'am for giving her a valuable time to my college and being here as a keynote speaker. I would like to invite ma'am to address us or tell us about William Shakespeare. Welcome, heartily welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much, and good morning, one and all. And thank you very, very much for the kind introduction. I'm truly honored to share the space with such dignitaries today. And I congratulate all the organizers and conveners of this wonderful conference. Thank you very much. And the topic of the conference, Shakespeare Reimagined, New Perspectives on Plays and Poetry, really interests me largely because I've been working on the gender and disability perspectives on Shakespeare for the past 5 years. And so without taking much time, I'd like to take the session forward. So I would like to share a slide, but during that time, my camera would be off because of connectivity issues. I hope it's permitted. You are on mute, sir.
Okay, I have make you the co-host. Now you can share your screen.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Those participants who want to present their paper, please be ready with your articles, research paper. After this session, there will be a paper presentation session will be there. Your slide is visible, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So there we go. And as we all know, William Shakespeare's works have been reimagined and adapted countless times over the years, and with each generation finding new meaning in his timeless stories and characters. So we'll just discuss some examples of how contemporary artists and people of literature have brought a fresh perspective to Shakespearean drama and poetry, and also in cinema. So let's first understand what do we actually mean by Shakespeare reimagined. Number one, the idea of taking the works of William Shakespeare and interpreting them in innovative ways. Now, innovation can be of different kinds, and there are digital innovations these days, and we'll discuss it in the next slide. And it also involves adapting the plays into modern audiences, giving it the color of the respective time, place, and culture, and using the themes and characters as a jumping off point for entirely new works. And so we can incorporate Shakespearean characters into new works as well. And also Shakespeare reimagined, we understand the ways in which the contemporary writers and artists have approached the works of William Shakespeare. And it can be through diverse voices. It can include more women. It can be a feminist perspective. It can include more people of color. It can be more inclusive, and also LGBTQ. So let's first understand the purpose that the reimagination of Shakespeare serves, bringing new perspectives serve. So there can be different purposes. I have selected 6 of them, but I'll talk of more. So reimagining Shakespeare in the modern world serves multiple purposes like reinterpreting, challenging, adding relevance, exploring perspectives. And firstly, it allows us to reinterpret and reimagine his works in the light of contemporary issues and concerns. So we reinterpret them for the modern audience. By exploring new perspectives and themes in Shakespeare's plays and poetry, we can engage with his work in a fresh and exciting way. And secondly, reimagining Shakespeare provides an opportunity to challenge traditional interpretations. That's really important, and particularly in relation to issue of race, gender, sexuality, and class. And by exploring these themes through new lenses, we can uncover new layers of meaning in his work and contribute to a more nuanced understanding, I would say, nuanced understanding of his legacy. And reimagining Shakespeare can also serve as a way of honoring and celebrating his contribution to literature and drama, while also pushing the boundaries of what is possible in theater and poetry now. Since we are living in the 21st century, and we definitely have more theater resources now. So definitely we can look at Shakespeare through new lenses, and we can uncover new layers of meaning in his work. And by experimenting with form, structure, and language, we can continue to innovate and expand upon the rich tradition of Shakespearean drama and poetry, creating new works that speak to the concerns and interests of contemporary audience. We always need to keep in mind the contemporary audience while adapting Shakespeare. And Indian movie director Vishal Bharadwaj has done it great deal. It helps keeps his works relevant to and accessible to new generation of audiences. And Shakespeare's language and cultural context can be difficult for modern audience to understand, because Shakespeare was writing in Elizabethan English. So reimaginings can help bridge that gap of language as well. And additionally, reimagining Shakespeare allows artists to explore new perspectives and themes that may not have been present in Shakespeare's original works. So, by updating the context and the settings of the plays, they can be made more relevant to the contemporary issues and audiences. And of course, reimagining can also help to diversify the representation in Shakespeare's works. Now, we need to bring inclusion in everything. We are an inclusive society now. And so many of his plays feature predominantly white male characters. So reimagining them can provide opportunities for more diverse casting in drama and cinema and more diverse storytelling. And finally, reimagining Shakespeare can help to challenge traditional interpretations of his works and bring new meanings to light. So it can help keep the works fresh and relevant, and provide a space for the ongoing artistic and, I would say, intellectual engagement with Shakespeare's legacy. So first of all, I'd like to talk about these wonderful drama adaptations in the modern world, in which we can find a lot a fresh perspective, different perspectives in these. So, of course, there are the possibilities for reimagining his plays and poetry are endless. Shakespeare's drama is truly versatile. And so there was one Othello that is reimagined from Desdemona's perspective. And Paula named the play Desdemona this time. Desdemona, a play about a handkerchief. And Desdemona is definitely a tragic heroine. So this retelling offers a feminist perspective on the story and explores the themes of love, jealousy, and power. Next, I would talk about Hamlet. I talk about Hamlet, and which was reimagined in a post-colonial context. Sorry, I'm sorry, I forgot to add the picture here, but there is I just added the picture of Tempest, so let's talk about Tempest. This Tempest was a play by M. Cesare. The story of Hamlet is reimagined in a post-colonial context. The story of Tempest is reimagined in M. Claire's A Tempest. And this play now explores the themes of racism, colonialism, and the legacy of imperialism, because of course that was more important in present situation. And we all know how Caliban was racially othered character in Tempest. So then why not talk about it during the times of Black Lives Matter? And Sleep No More, here is the reimagining of Macbeth. And this is a play by Punch Drunk Theatre. The story of Macbeth is reimagined as a psychological thriller set in a haunted hotel this time. And the audience is invited to move through the hotel. And how innovative it is. Encountering scenes and characters from the play in a non-linear and immersive experience. Now the audience is not sitting outside the stage. The audience becomes the part of the drama. And also I'd like to talk about sonnets. Shakespeare's Sonnets Remixed was a project by rapper and playwright Akala. Shakespeare's sonnets were reimagined in contemporary language and set to music. It was more of rap work, I would say. In addition to these examples, there are many other ways in which Shakespeare's work has been reimagined in recent years. And there was one drama I came across while working at the Culture, The Tempest. This time, in that innovative project, was set in a futuristic space station. And Macbeth set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. So others have also focused on Shakespeare's characters and themes. And of course, we all know about Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, which retells the story of Hamlet from the perspective of two minor characters. Okay, so now I'll talk about some hip hop and rap music in which Shakespeare's new perspectives were aligned. So Hamilton, released in 2015, is Tony award-winning musical by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and it reimagines the founding fathers of America as a diverse cast of performers with an emphasis on hip hop and rap music. This show draws heavily on Shakespearean themes of political ambition, betrayal, and tragedy, while also incorporating elements of modern pop culture. And West Side Story was a musical by Leonard Bernstein, and it brought Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet to the streets of New York City in the 1950s. And the story of two rival gangs and a doomed love affair is set to score that blend jazz, classical, Latin American music, and it was very innovative and very creative. Exit, Pursued by a Bear. This dark comedy by Lauren Gunderson takes its title from the famous stage direction in The Winter's Tale, Exit, Pursued by a Bear. So this play follows a woman named Nan who enlists her friends to help her seek revenge on her abusive husband. Through its use of humor and satire, the play explores issues of gender, violence, and justice in modern context. So now let's talk about different perspectives that we come across on Shakespeare. We can talk about the queer perspective first of all. So scholars and artists are exploring the ways this time, because of course LGBTQ is one of the most highlighted topics in the contemporary world. So this includes exploring the homoeroticism in some of his works, as well as reimagining the characters and stories in a queer context. Romeo and Juliet, reimagined in a queer context, and I would say there was one play I can recall. Romeo is not the only fruit. It was the story of Romeo and Juliet in a queer context, and it explored the themes of sexuality, gender identity, and the challenges of coming out, challenge of coming out to the world in a conservative society. And if I talk about post-colonial perspective, I think the best example that I can find here is the book Shakespeare and Post-Colonial Theory by Jyotsna Singh, which examines the ways in which Shakespeare's works have been appropriated and adapted in colonial and post-colonial contexts. And another example is the play A Midsummer Night's Dream in Bollywood, which reimagines the play in contemporary Indian context. And environmental perspectives, of course, it includes exploring the relationship between humans and natures in the plays and examining the ways in which the environmental concerns are reflected in his works. So an example of this environmental perspective is the book Shakespeare and Eco-Critical Theory by Gabriel Egan, which explores the relationship between humans and nature in his plays. And digital perspectives, I think this is the most important one during our times when we are following ChatGPT and other AI tools. So advances in technology are allowing for new ways of experiencing and interpreting Shakespeare. And this includes creating digital adaptations of the plays, as well as using digital tools to analyze and interpret the texts, and also animation. So an example I would give is Shakespeare's Sonnets, which provides an interactive reading experience of Shakespeare's sonnets with annotations and contextual information. Another example is the digital performance of The Tempest by the Royal Shakespearean Company, which went viral, and which it used motion capture technology to create a virtual avatar of the character of Ariel in Tempest. Disability perspectives, I have been working on it for a long time, and I've been working on the madness inherent in the Shakespeare's works. And truly, I believe that this will overpower all other perspectives in near future. And this includes examining the ways in which characters with disabilities are represented in the plays, as well as exploring the ways in which Shakespeare's works can be used to challenge ableist attitudes and assumptions. So the play Crib Time by Shannon Finnegan, which explores the representation of disability in Shakespeare's works and the ways in which disabled actors can claim a space in the theatrical world, is a very fine example. And another example I'd like to give of Richard III Redux, which reimagines the character of Richard III as a disabled veteran returning from the Iraq War. I'm not talking about the feminist perspective in detail here because I find a lot of research on that, and I think a lot has been done on it, and still there is a scope for more. So since we are talking about Shakespeare in India, I think that it's really useful to now talk about how Shakespeare has been adapted in India, and we have Indian audience sitting here. So Shakespeare is showcased on the Indian stage, colored with contemporary issues, seasoned with the culture. And these adaptations demonstrate the ongoing relevance of Shakespeare's works in contemporary India, and the ability of playwrights, of course, to use them effectively, of playwrights as well as the movie directors to use them effectively as a means of exploring our own contemporary issues. So now in India, tragedy concerts with comedy, poetic language with coarse slang, and prim morality with unbounded desire. So Hindi with English and all regional languages are mixed, conversational dialogues with song and dance. So let's talk about some fine examples of Shakespeare in the Indian theater first, and then I'll switch to cinema. So Othello was a production of Rostan Abel, and it was set in the world of Kalaripayattu, a traditional Indian martial art form. And this explores the themes of power, betrayal, jealousy through the lens of Indian culture. And Macbeth in 2013, director Rajat Kapoor adapted Macbeth into a play called What Is Done, What Is Done. What is done is done. And it was set in the contemporary India and features a diverse cast of characters from different social classes in the same play. And King Lear, this play was directed by Rostal Abel, and it was set in Kerala and with the backdrop of traditional Kathakali dance drama. And it explores the themes of family relations, power, gender, and the mix of tradition and modernity. Twelfth Night in 2021 was directed by Atul Kumar, and Atul Kumar is really popular for directing, for adapting Shakespeare into the Indian stage. And it reimagines Twelfth Night in the context of a contemporary Indian wedding, the Twelfth Night, and the play explores the themes of feminism in the context of Indian society and culture. So when I talk about Shakespeare in India, I cannot stop talking about cinema. And of course, let's first talk about Macbeth. I would switch to Vishal Bhardwaj. I will quote Vishal Bhardwaj again and again because he has an outstanding contribution for the same. And Veeram was also a wonderful movie, and both of these were made on Macbeth. And how Makbul was very different with its characters speaking in Urdu, and the culture was very different from how we read in Macbeth. And Tabu played the role of Lady Macbeth very effectively, very effectively. And now let's talk about Hamlet. I have also, put the picture of Khoon Ka Khoon, which is a very, very old Bollywood movie. But the more popular version is, of course, Heather, which was very sensational. And imagine how Vishal Bhardwaj put Heather in the worst time of Kashmir, the insurgency in Kashmir, and he mixed the ideas of militancy and you can say liberal ideas into the movie. And the best example I found for Othello was Omkara, and how it was set in the backdrop of Bihar, and how characters speak slurs as well. They speak Hindi, English, and the mix of Bihari native language. And it was a wonderful adaptation because the culture overpowered the storyline in this movie especially. So, and I found this wonderful comedy, A Midsummer Night, which was adaptation of Midsummer Night's Dream. It did not go very popular on the Indian screen. It did not hit the box office as much. But this Tenement Love is a very cheerful and very, it has been written in, the dialogues are very, I would say, simple, and it hits your nerve some way or the other. It's very relatable, I would say. And I found old versions of the Comedy of Errors and say Gulzar's Angur, which was subtitled Comedy of Errors, and Do Duni Char. Both of these were wonderful movies, but since they are really old and we do not have very fine recent examples of Comedy of Errors, I started to talk about these. And of course, Angur was really different because of its sarcastic dialogues, and it was a hit at the box office. And when Bollywood adapts any Shakespearean drama, like it's very convenient, because Shakespeare has that sensationalism, that spice, that masala the Indian audience is looking for. And Romeo and Juliet is by far the favorite of Indian drama and cinema, because it has been adapted into different movies by time, again and again. And every time we find a fresh perspective. Now, Ishaq Zade and Ram Leela were truly violent in the true forms, but Ek Duje Ke Liye was not that violent, and it was quite subtle. And in Ram Leela and Ishaq Zade, we find that sensationalism, we find suicides, we find a lot of rifles and shootings going around. You see how Romeo and Juliet can be adapted into different forms. And Kayamat Se Kayamat Tak was really a sensational movie during those times, because it incorporated a kiss scene, and it was really fresh for the Indian audience to watch during those times. And I think Romeo and Juliet gave the perfect script for this to happen. Now, Shakespeare, being carried ahead through time by Indians, quickly moved from being a symbol of colonialism at the initial stage to now a symbol of independence. How Shakespeare moved through the century. Now, I just decided to put some dialogues here, because when Shakespeare is adapted into on the Indian screen or on the Indian stage, the dialogues play a really important role, because language is a big barrier between Shakespeare and Indian audience, and language joins us together. It was a very wonderful one from Heather. जब तक हम अपने इंतकाम से आजाद नहीं हो जाते, तब तक कोई आजादी हमें आजाद नहीं कर सकती. So these kind of powerful dialogues bring Shakespeare into a broader light, and now it makes Shakespeare reside in our collective unconscious forever. And we definitely cannot give up on Shakespeare. Of course, Indians cannot give up on Shakespeare. Shakespeare is not universal, not only universal, but also versatile. That Shakespeare is not good and true for all people in all places and all the times. That is the most astonishing fact about him. But his drama does have a tendency, much more than other writers from his age or others, to speak to diverse cultures in different forms. And we are seeing it now as well. And I would like to read this quote by Anil Tharkar. If you look around, you will find Shakespeare's dramas everywhere. Every Khap Panchayat will have a story of Romeo and Juliet. Every politician can tell you the story of Macbeth. So Shakespeare's reimaginings demonstrate the enduring power of his work to inspire and challenge contemporary artists. And by exploring new perspectives on his plays and poetry, writers and performers are able to create works that speak to the concerns of our own time, while also paying homage to one of the greatest writers in the English language. So I'll stop sharing here, and thank you very much for listening with patience, everyone. I'll turn my camera on again because of connectivity issue. I had turned it off during the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your wonderful session. Really, it was very nice and fantastic that you have showed us that the gap of language between Shakespearean, Elizabethan language and modern language, Elizabethan language and today's modern language, reinterpret, challenge, celebration of William Shakespeare in today's scenario. Also, you have given a very good example about Desdemona, the play by Paulo Vogel, a play about handkerchief. That's a very nice, interesting story that we have seen in the in that play. Also, you have talked about the Atul Kumar, who is the great director of movies. He has reimagined William Shakespeare into Bollywood also and in the Hollywood also. Maqbul is the reimagination of Macbeth. Haider is the reimagination of Hamlet, Omkara of Othello, and 10 million Love, Midsummer Night's Dream. The examples that you have given, really it was a very nice and wonderful session, and you have focused on all the works by William Shakespeare in your this resource person speech. I'm very much thankful on the behalf of Mahatma Phule College, Kingaon, Internal Quality Assurance Cell and Department of English for giving your wonderful lecture, wonderful session to this
Thank you.
international e-conference. I am very much thankful. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very
Now,
much.
thank you, ma'am.
And
Now
also,
I would
I
like
would
to.
apologize because I'll have to take a leave as I came in between the work time. So, and thank you very much. And I really apologize that you had to keep waiting because I got the confusion of time zones. Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Okay,
everyone.
okay, thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to request to all the participants, those who want to present their research paper in this international conference. First, I would like to call Akash Sadanand Naik Salgaonkar. Sir, are you there? Akash Sadanand Naik. Okay. Appa Ramchandra Londe. Hello. Hmm. Now you can unmute yourself.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. Please present your paper, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Welcome, welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Today I am going to present my research paper. My name is Appa Ramchandra Londe, Head of Department of English, Let TD Patare, Arts, Commerce and Science College, Chandannagar, Pune. The title of my research paper is Major Themes in Shakespeare's Sonnet. Sonnet, as everyone knows, that is a poem of 14 lines written in strict stanza and rhyme scheme. William Shakespeare, one of the greatest English writers, popularly known for his great tragedies, also wrote sonnets and made the poem popular. Sonnet is divided into two major types, that is Italian sonnet and English sonnet. English sonnet is also called as Shakespearean sonnet, as the poem was made popular in English by William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare, beyond all questions, was being one of the best English writers, wrote his sonnets with various themes. Love was the most well-known and common theme of the sonnet form, but William Shakespeare introduces various themes in his sonnet like love, jealousy, beauty, power of time, mortality, justice, etc. So I am going to discuss all his major themes one by one. First of all, I will discuss the theme love. Shakespeare has used this theme in his many sonnets. Sonnet number 116, Let Me Not the Marriage of True Minds, is one of the most celebrated love sonnet of William Shakespeare. It has very famous lines. Love is not love which alters when its alliteration finds or bends with the remor to remove. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark. Here, the speaker in this poem argues that true love never change, never alter, though it find its reasons. True lover never change their minds and never think about leaving each other. Sonnet number 29 also has love theme. Though the poet managed his outcast status and failure in his sadness, he becomes very happy and feels better when he thinks, recall about his beloved. Lines represent light. For thy sweet love, remember, such a wealth brings, that then scorn to change my state with king. Here, the speaker is so happy to recall sweet memories of his beloved, and he forgets his disgrace, his wretched outcast state. The poet wants to convey that love soothes and heals all type of pains of life. The speaker's love for his beloved changes the mood completely. Sonnet 130 also deals with love theme. It glorifies the speaker's love for his beloved. It begins, my mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. And yet, by heaven, I think my love as rare as any she believed with my pulse compare. The speaker's sweet swears that the woman he loves is unique and she is best at her place. She cannot be compared with other beautiful things in nature or any other beautiful women. Apart from love theme, Shakespeare's another major theme of sonnet is beauty. Beauty is another important theme that occurs in Shakespeare's sonnets frequently. In the very first sonnet, we came across this theme when the speaker says, when 40 winters shall beseech thy brow and dig deep trenches in thy beauty's field. Here, the poet criticizes that a man is blessed with beauty, but he decides to not have children. He declines to pass his beauty in his next generation. In sonnet 54, the poet explains that beauty is more valuable if it is accompanied with honesty and kindness. Sweet beauty hath no name, no holy brow, but is preferred if not lives in disgrace. Sonnet 53 express poets sonnet is time. Time is presented as cruel and destructive and negative one in Shakespeare's sonnets. Time, without any doubt, is one of the major themes of his sonnets. In his sonnet 1, Shakespeare presented this theme as in the following lines. High there by beauty's rose might never die, but as the riper should by time decrease. Time doth transfix the flourish set on youth, and delves the parallels in beauty's bow. Another important theme of Shakespeare's sonnet is immortality. In Shakespeare's sonnets, the theme of immortality can be always observed. Immortality means the ability to last forever. Shakespeare emphasized that true love never dies. On the contrary, it is immortal. In his sonnet 18 and 55, Shakespeare has glorified this theme. In his sonnet 18, he says, so long as man can be breathed or eyes can see, so long lives this and this gives life to thee. Here the poet says that so long as human being is there, people will read his verses and his time frame will be remembered forever in his verses. Further, he says that the powerful memory of his friend will never be erased, not Mars his sword, nor war's quick fire shall burn the living record of your memory. Apart from these major themes, Shakespeare has expressed many other themes in his sonnets like jealousy, lust, infidelity, selfishness, etc. To conclude, Shakespeare, being a versatile poet, has expressed various themes in his 154 sonnets. I here thank you very much, organizer, for giving me and such a golden and honorable opportunity to present my paper today. I especially thank you, Dr. Prabhakar Swami sir, for giving me an opportunity to present my paper. Thank you so much.
Welcome, welcome, sir. You have nicely presented your paper that giving the major themes in Shakespeare's sonnet. Especially you have talked about sonnet 116. Marrying of two minds. At this end of this sonnet, Shakespeare says that if this be error and upon me proved, no man ever loved, or no, I never read, or no man ever loved. Really, this is a very wonderful sonnet. You are given the 29th sonnet, 116 sonnet, 154 sonnet. The themes of these sonnets really we know that Shakespeare has wrote in these 154 sonnets. Those who have 126 has been dedicated to Mr. WH, and 26 are dedicated to the Dark Lady, and two are the dedicated to the Cupid. Now I would like to request to Dr. Manjari Agnihotri ma'am to present her paper, Universal and Psychological Appears in Shakespeare's Plays. Welcome, ma'am.
Everyone. I am Dr. Manjari Agnihotri from Government Girls College, Sihor. I am going to present my paper on Shakespeare. The title is Universal and Psychological Appeal in Shakespearean Plays. Shakespeare carved his with golden letters on the plate of history of English literature. He is the strong pillar of English literature and the shining planet of the literary universe, as well as he contributed the invaluable literary treasure to the history of English literature. As a dramatist, he earned a remarkable place because all his plays have universal and psychological appeal. Shakespeare's freshness is perennial. In this concern, Ben Jonson rightly comments that he was not of an age, but of all ages, not of one country, but of all countries. He is not a man of an age, but of all time. Nature herself was proud of his design. In Shakespeare's tragedies, all his powers, his dramatic power, his intellectual supports him to peep into the life of a character and observe him psychologically. This unique divine power provides him an opportunity to present his dramatic characters like social persons, whether they belong to any class of the society. Shakespeare has endowed them with universal human traits by which they can appeal to the people of all lands and all of ages. His men and women are not merely superficial study of contemporary society, but they are true to the eternal facts of human nature. Shakespeare's study of human nature is so deep and true that his characters may be of higher class or of a royal family, but they are presented with the nature, feelings, ambitions, psychology of common man. His all plays, whether they are comedy, tragedy, or historical plays, are still relevant for modern society because Shakespeare is powerful enough to peep psychologically into the character of a person, into his feelings, his nature, his behavior, along with the features of the society. He wrote dramas for the contemporary society and audience, but they are enjoyed even today with same enthusiasm. Shakespeare managed to depict many truths about the human race accurately. Many persons in modern society are fit in the profile of Macbeth, Hamlet, Othello, etc., because human nature has not changed a great deal since the Elizabethan era. Themes such as ambition, guilt, shame, anxiety, paranoia, trauma, mental illness, psychological vulnerability, envy, inferiority, manipulation, greed, and murder are still relevant in 21st century. Shakespeare holds a mirror to human nature and to the society. So Macbeth is not only a story of an ambitious man, but it narrates the psychology of every person who wants to be powerful by any means. Even the modern men act with the psychology of Macbeth and Lady Macbeth, and persons like Banquo are murdered today. The appetite of over-ambition and power leads a man to the path of degeneration is purely applicable for present society. The mental agony of Hamlet, to be or not to be, is wisely presented through the psychological lens. This dilemma of human mind is still working today. His character is portrayed and depicted with psychological analysis and complexities. Similarly, in Othello, the feeling of ambition, competition, jealousy, conspiracy, doubt, and desire are painted with psychological and universal approach, leaving the message that jealousy is a strong emotion that strikes human with the lethal venom. Now, to sum up, whether Shakespeare presented in his literary work is universal, moral, remarkable, as well as applicable for all ages. He insists through Macbeth that crime affects the individuals as well as environment. Its evils operate on the level of man, family, state, and the physical universe. But ultimately, evil destroys itself to give place to good. Indian mythology also conveys the same message. The greed, ambition, etc., all encourage the good to act against the evil, and consequently, the evil is destroyed at the end. There are lots of morals to be learned from his plays. For example, in Macbeth, we see the main moral of the play is not to be tempted to do bad things in order to gain power. In addition, another moral of the play would be that even if a person thinks that he goes deep in the immoral deeds, there is always also a way to come out to rescue himself from the degradation. Such type of moral justice of Shakespeare crowned him as a supreme in the history of English literature. This universal and psychological appeal of Shakespearean dramas has made all the Shakespearean dramas relevant for the modern society. Paying the tribute to William Shakespeare, Carlyle said, Shakespeare was the grandest thing we have yet done. Indian Empire will go at any rate someday, but this Shakespeare does not go. He lasts forever with us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Really, you have presented your very nicely paper about universal and psychological appeal in Shakespeare's plays. Now, I would like to request to Rutuja Pradhan, ma'am, to present her paper, Understanding Shakespeare Graphically. Rutuja Pradhan, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yes, welcome, ma'am. Welcome.
I'd like to share my screen.
Okay, you can share, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, you can share, ma'am.
I'm today going to talk about understanding Shakespeare graphically, using graphic adaptations to understand Shakespeare's works. So what I did was, I found during my research that many learners as well as educators often find it difficult to learn as well as teach Shakespeare. And mainly that problem occurs because of the use of Shakespeare's language. So his use of thou and these and prithese, right? Because it is considered as quote unquote archaic language, many learners find it extremely difficult to understand Shakespeare. And this results in turn in the lack of comprehension of the Shakespeare's work. It also results, lack of comprehension results in boredom and uninterestedness. And because of this issue with language, what also happens is many learners start facing fear and anxiety and dread. Many learners do not want to open Shakespeare's works because they consider it too difficult to understand, even without trying to understand the work. In my research, what I did was I had 20 learners from the age of 17 to 19. And what I did was, in my research, I explored the use of graphic adaptations of Shakespeare's works to tackle this issue. I wanted to see, I hypothesized that the use of graphic adaptations before reading the original work can perhaps lead to a greater comprehension of the original work. For this purpose, these 20 students were asked to follow certain steps. First, they were given the original version of Shakespeare's. I used Hamlet for this purpose, and because of the lack of time, I focused only on the scene one of Act One. So they were asked to read the original version of Shakespeare, and then they were asked to rate their level of comprehension, and if they were facing any issues and what sort of issues they were facing. Then after that, they were given a copy of graphic adaptation of Shakespeare, and its example is given on this slide. This graphic adaptation was published by the Sparknotes editors, and they have an entire series on No Fear Shakespeare, which focuses on graphic adaptations of Shakespeare's works. So, what I did was I asked them to read the graphic adaptation of Shakespeare's Hamlet's Act 1, Scene 1, and rate the level of comprehension if they faced some issues and so on. Third step what they did was they reread the original version after reading this graphic adaptation they were asked to note any changes in their level of comprehension. What I found was that almost out of 20, 18 students sort of reported that they experienced increased comprehension because even though the graphic adaptation, especially because graphic adaptation did not use the same language that was used in the original work, they could understand the work easily. They could also predict better because they knew already the story because of the graphic adaptations. They could predict the words that were being used in the context of the original Shakespeare's work. And this resulted in sort of reduction in the dread and anxiety that they faced. The notion that Shakespeare is difficult was reduced, also because graphic adaptations are very similar to comics, and comic is generally never taken seriously. So, because of the reduction in the seriousness, Shakespeare's works also became light. They became easy to grasp. They became learners became more and more open, and the mental barrier that they had, that Shakespeare is difficult, Shakespeare is boring, only super smart people can understand Shakespeare, was something that they believed, but there was a remarkable decrease in that notion, in that mental barrier. The conclusions I would draw from this research was that graphic adaptations can be used as a sort of initiator for Shakespeare's works. They can help the learners, especially learners who are at the intermediate state of learning, and this can help in their understanding of Shakespeare, even though Shakespeare's language might have been a barrier for their understanding previously. However, a limitation that I found was that this cannot be the whole and soul for Shakespeare. Shakespeare is synonymous with English literature, and you cannot simply teach Shakespeare using a graphic adaptation of Shakespeare's works. So, graphic adaptations can work wonderfully as a supplementary reader instead of a primary reader. Instead of a primary source, it can be a good supplementary reader and help in understanding Shakespeare's works better. And this can be particularly helpful if the learners are in the intermediate stage of the learning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your wonderful presentation of your research paper, Understanding Shakespeare Graphically. Now, I would like to request to Manjusha Nerkar, ma'am, to present her paper. Manjusha Nerkar, ma'am.
ब्रेक में देखो, अभी देखना इसमें कनेक्ट हो, मेरी आवाज तो नहीं गई?
I think ma'am is not there. Now I would like to request to Ashok Bhosikar sir to present his paper. Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
मेरी नहीं, किसी और की.
Shall I start?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
देखो,
Yes, ma'am.
म्यूट है.
My of my paper is gender equality, also referred to as sexual equality, is a state where equal opportunities are available to everyone, regardless of their gender. This concept is straightforward and easy to understand. In William Shakespeare's play, The Merchant of Venice, the protagonist is a character named Portia. She is the romantic heroine of the play who falls in love with a man named Bassanio. In order to live a happy life with Bassanio, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you are audible.
Okay. In order to, sorry, Portia also helps to solve a problem faced by her friend Antonio and punishes the character Shylock not adhering to the truth. Another female character in the play is Nerissa, who is a maidservant in Portia's household. However, she is more of a companion to Portia than just a maid, following her mistress in everything. Despite the common belief that women are their own worst enemies, Nerissa proves to be an exception to this idea. The third character, Jessica, is portrayed as a woman who is tired of her father Shylock's restrictions and chooses to elope with Lorenzo. The research paper aims to demonstrate the existence of women in a male dominated society. It illustrates that women are capable of solving their problems in their own unique ways and achieving happiness in their lives. The keywords of my paper is gender equality, Portia, Nerissa, Jessica, Bassanio, Antonio, and Shylock. Introduction. Gender refers to socially constructed norms that dictate appropriate roles, behaviors, actions, and attributes for men and women. These norms vary depending on cultural, social, and individual factors. Unfortunately, there is a widespread lack of gender equality, which is a significant issue that requires attention and analysis. The solution is to ensure equal treatment for everyone without discrimination based on gender. For a long time, women have been treated as inferior to men. Men often view women as objects to fulfill their sexual desires and take care of household and child care duties. It is crucial that women receive equal treatment in patriarchal societies. The goal of the Human Rights Office is to promote women's human rights and achieve gender equality. In this study, we will analyze the female characters in The Merchant of Venice, namely Portia, Nerissa, and Jessica. The objectives of my paper to explore the existence of women in society and the challenges they face due to societal norms and gender roles, to analyze the characters of Portia, Jessica, and Nerissa in detail, highlighting their struggles, achievements, and contribution to the play, to investigate the societal attitudes towards women in The Merchant of Venice and how these attitudes impact the portrayal of female characters, to examine the potential for resistance and subversion in patriarchal societies and how this is reflected in the actions of female characters in the play, to encourage readers to reflect on contemporary societal expectations of gender and promote inclusivity, empathy, and authenticity in modern society. Portia, the lead female character in The Merchant of Venice, is a striking and intelligent woman with a bold personality. She hails from a wealthy family in Belmont and belongs to the upper echelons of society. Portia's father, concerned that potential suitors may only be interested in her fortune, devised a test in which they must choose from one of three caskets, each containing a portrait of Portia. Despite her father's passing, Portia remains committed to fulfillment his wishes. Her heart, however, belongs to Bassanio, and she loves him deeply. She provides him with a clue to help him choose the correct casket by singing a song that reveals the correct choice. Portia's anxiety is palpable as Bassanio arrives at her mansion to choose from the caskets, and she communicates her feelings to him through her eyes. Portia's intelligence, strength, and resourcefulness are displayed throughout the play. Despite societal expectations and limitations placed on women, Portia finds her own way to fulfill her father's wish and follow her heart. Portia is deeply moved when Bassanio chooses the correct casket, which contains her picture. She expresses her overwhelming emotions and feelings towards Bassanio, saying that she would give everything she has for him. Portia says that she does not wish to be ambitious for herself, but she would be willing to improve herself for Bassanio. She wishes to be 1,000 times richer, fairer, and better for him. She emphasizes that she is inexperienced and uneducated, but she is willing to learn and improve herself for him. Portia feels happy that she has a gentle spirit that can be directed by him, and she pledges herself to him as her Lord, Governor, and King. She converts everything that belongs to her into his, showing her devotion and commitment towards him. She is overwhelmed when Bassanio chooses correct casket. She wishes to give everything, whatever she has. Thus, Portia expresses her deep love, devotion, and commitment towards Bassanio. She is willing to improve herself and learn for him and pledges herself to him as his loyal subject. Her words highlight the strength of her character and her deep affection towards Bassanio. Portia's love for Bassanio is so strong that she is willing to do anything to save the life of his dear friend Antonio, despite her own happiness being tied to Bassanio's success in choosing the right casket. Portia can't ignore the perilous situation of Antonio. She admires Bassanio's noble and generous nature, saying that he has a godlike quality. She takes it upon herself to find a solution to the problem and punishes Shylock, who had agreed to do the deal that would cost Antonio's life. Portia knows the loophole in the bond and cleverly disguises herself as a lawyer to save Antonio. She orders Shylock to cut a pound of flesh from Antonio's body, but not to drop any blood. Otherwise, he will be punished. Shylock is to carry out impossible, and Portia saves Antonio's life. Portia's intelligence and knowledge of the law make her a powerful, effective character in the play. She punishes Shylock and protects her subjects, land, and Antonio. She also emphasizes the importance of mercy. Nerissa, on the other hand, is not a maid but a loyal companion of Portia. She supports Portia in every aspect, including falling in love with Bassanio and helping to save Antonio's life. Nerissa is witty and intelligent, which wins her the hearts of both Graciano and Portia. She even becomes Portia's clerk, Stefano, when Portia disguises herself as a lawyer. Nerissa's faithful and loyal nature makes her a valuable and important character in the play. The third character is Jessica, the third female character in the play, who is in love with
Okay,
Lorenzo.
wind up, ma'am,
She is
because we have, hello. We have other participants who want to present their paper. Please wind up,
Yes,
please.
sir, I will conclude. All the female characters, Portia, Nerissa, and Jessica, live in male-dominated society. Portia is influenced by her father's influence of choosing her own husband by selecting the lead casket, but Portia is very brilliant. She doesn't want to break the shackle of society and wants to fulfill her own wish. Therefore, she gave the clue to Bassanio to choose a proper casket, having her photograph. She also saves the life of Antonio and punishes Shylock very smartly. Thus, she fulfills the dream of Nerissa to marry Antonio. Nerissa is very sincere companion of Portia, who is always with her. She disguised as a clerk for Portia and saves the life of Antonio. Nerissa also disguises herself and elopes with Lorenzo due to the torture of Shylock. Portia, Nerissa, and Jessica all are to find their own identity in the patriarchal society. They become the winner. All the three characters find their own way to fulfill their own wish to be successful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I would like to request to Ashok Bhusikar sir to present his paper. Sir, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am here. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Thank you.
Please take only 5 minutes, sir, because others are
Yes,
also.
yes. I am aware of all these
Okay,
obligations.
Thank you,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Yes. Hopefully, I am audible to all of you.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes. First of all, I am thankful to the organizers and particularly Dr. Prabhakar Swami sir for organizing such a beautiful seminar on such a relevant topic. The title of my paper is Indianization of Shakespeare's Othello in Vishal Bharadwaj movie Omkara. So instead of going on in all details, I am going to focus on just the abstract and important points in my paper. Shakespeare plays are illustration of success and pillars of human responses to order. These illustrations are very well captivated and displayed on silver screen. This paper is an attempt to study the Indian adaptation of Shakespeare in popular culture. It scrutinizes how Shakespeare has been utterly absorbed into the Indian imagination. The work mainly deals with the Shakespeare adaptation of Othello in the Bollywood director Vishal Bharadwaj movie Omkara, released in 2006. This movie achieved great success in India and domesticated Shakespeare's like never before. This paper will try to understand how Bharadwaj have adapted plays written for Elizabethan era and situated them in a highly different Indian context. Indianization occurs when any foreign story is changed into Indian version. Indianization happens when the story or theme of some foreign language or land is adopted for filmmaking in Indian languages, changing the culture, language as it suits Indian culture and audience. It involves change in the language, attire, names, domestication, etc. Cultural and social values are changed in order to make them fit in Indian culture. It happens to so that Indian audience may feel at home with the borrowed alien ideas, the plot or story. Characters are chiseled, coined, and presented in Indianized colors. Story is set in Indian conditions. Dialogues are written to fit into the Indian scenario. Attire is arranged as per the needs of the story and characters. There is Indianized flavor all around. Thus, when a story is depicted, presented, and picturized in typical Indian flavor, it is termed as Indianization. And of course, the Indian masala is also added for which Indian films are popular. Indianization from the reference to Shakespeare came from the traditional theaters in various forms. Indianized Shakespeare dominates the theater for a long span of time, and now the same thing is happening with Hindi cinema. Talking about interchange swap of Shakespeare's in the form of acceptance, then he is the one most dominant and resistant. Shakespeare is the most appropriable example for cross-border cinema, especially in Hindi cinema, where through visuals every culture speaks throughout, fresh from the success of his earlier Shakespearean adaptation of Macbeth Akamugul. Vishal has fiddled with fire again. The music composer turned director has brought the characters of Othello alive with his brilliant adaptation. Omkara begins with a credit that reads Vishal Bharadwaj's adaptation of Shakespeare Othello. The characters in Bharadwaj movie share the same first letters as their counterparts in the Shakespearean play Omkara. Othello, Ishwar Iago, Dolly Desdemona, Indu Emilia, Kesu Cassio, Billo Binaka, and so on. For those not familiar with Bard's Venetian domestic tragedy, Othello, the movie Omkara, can be said to be the global theme of suspicious skills. Some might think that the director had liberally borrowed themes from Hindi epics such as Ramayana, suspicion of the wife and listening to false counsel. So suspicion is quite popular or quite common in Indian mythology also. However, for those who have not read Othello are bound to enjoy the movie more as the ending will surprise them. So from the above discussion, it is quite evident that Omkara movie is found to be the tight adaptation. The plot and other elements of filmmaking have undergone change to make foreign works fit for the entertainment of India cinegoers. But one thing must go to the credit of the filmmaker, that he has never lost sight of the main plot. The plot is dyed in Indian colors and the characterization is quite superb. Storylines, the three movie is excellent. One must confess that Vishal Bharadwaj is a fantastic craftsman and leaves no stone unturned while working on the literary adaptation. So thank you. Here I stop. Once again, I am thankful for the organizer for giving me such a beautiful opportunity to present a paper before you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Really, it was very wonderful, nice presentation of your paper, Indianization of Shakespeare's Othello in Vishal Bharadwaj's movie, Omkara. Now, I would like to request to Silu Sengar ma'am to present her paper. Are you there, ma'am?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Am
Yes,
I audible, sir? Okay.
yes, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you so much, Prabhakar, sir, for giving me such an opportunity, because I've just given you the name. So thank you so much, sir. And today I'm going to present my paper on the complexity of human relationship, study of select Shakespearean tragedies. So as I have only 5 minutes, so I'm going to summarize my topic. William Shakespeare, as we know, a great dramatist, poet, and playwright of Renaissance age, who reflects every aspect of human world with a universal appeal in timelessness. His poetry, particularly his plays, are still among the greatest ever, and his work is unmatched in the history of English literature. And today, the topic of my research paper is as to explore the Shakespearean tragedy, human relationship in Shakespearean tragedy. So I'm going to take the four Shakespearean tragedies, Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, and Macbeth for my study, as Shakespeare delved deep in the human mind and offered a profound analysis of the human psyche in most of his tragedies. Through his works, he explored the inner conflict of individuals as they strive to overcome their mistakes and faults to attain enlightenment and wisdom. Shakespeare's use of poetry within his plays to express the deepest level of human motivation in individual, social, and universal situations is regarded one of the greatest accomplishments in literary school. So, as we know, humans have the capacity to exhibit diverse personalities, adapting to their surroundings and circumstances, which contributes to their intricate nature. This ability allows individuals to conceive their genuine disposition, intention, and understanding from others at their dissertation. In the pursuit of their own interest, individuals may display the type of personality that suits the situation to attain their objective. William Shakespeare, a celebrated dramatist, as we all know, of the Romantic era, embodies the ideals of Renaissance humanists in his quest to uncover the truth about human nature. Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, and King Lear are well known for their complex characters and their exploration of the depths of human nature. In this article, I'm going to examine the complexities of human nature, exploring the nonsense and intricacies of his characters and themes. Shakespeare's plays can be classified, as we know, in tragedy, comedy, and historical drama. As in Hamlet, we find that one of the best or well-known Shakespearean tragedy is a play that delves deeply into the complexities of human nature. It explores the complexities of human condition through the experience of character such as King Claudius, Hamlet, and Gertrude. The main character, Prince Hamlet, is torn between his desire for revenge and his moral conscience. His struggle with the question of whether it is right to seek revenge for his father's murder or to let justice take its course. He is plumbed. Hamlet is plumbed by the trauma of his father's death and is unable to come terms with it. His mental state actually deteriorates as he loses touch with the reality and feels isolated even in the company of others. Same way, we will find in King Othello, the complex character of the drama Othello is respected by his peers, but is also subject to racism and bullying. He also explored the theme of jealousy as supposed infidelity leads him to commit murder, and the complexity of Othello's character is a reflection of the complexities of human nature and the struggle between love and jealousy. In the same way, King Lear, the most complex and tragic play of Shakespeare, exploring the intricacies of human nature through its titular character. The play also explores the themes of power, greed, and madness as Lear descends into madness and despair after dividing his kingdom among the daughters. So these three plays I have chosen for my research paper. Now I'm coming to my conclusion. So the paper can be concluded that Shakespeare's major tragedies are known for their complex characters and their exploration of the depths of human nature. These plays are a reflection of the complexities of human experience, and they continue to captivate audience and scholars alike. The characters in these plays are not one-dimensional, but rather complex and reflecting the many contradictions and conflicts that make up the human experience. So Shakespeare expertly captured the thoughts, opinions, emotions, and reasoning of his character, which is evident in these four tragedies: Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, and Macbeth. So thank you so much. Thank you, sir, again for giving me this chance to present my paper. Thank you so much.
Welcome, ma'am. Thank you so much. You are nicely presented your paper. Really, it was very nice. Thank you so much. Now, last presenter of the research paper. Now, I would like to request to Dr. Kranti Sharma, ma'am, to present her paper on nostalgic for the homeland and exposition of human values in the Shakespeare's The Tempest. Kranti Sharma, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir, and good afternoon, all the
Yeah.
participants. I'm
Good
Dr.
afternoon.
Kranti Sharma. I'm Associate Professor, Department of English, and I'm presenting my paper and I'm sharing my screen.
Okay, ma'am, you can share your screen. Yes, it is
Yes.
visible, ma'am. Yes.
Is it visible? So,
Yes, ma'am. Please come up within
to
a 5
start
minutes.
with, I'll start.
Yeah, it is
Yes,
already
sir,
late.
yes, sir.
Please,
Nostalgia is a powerful tool for the motivation and persuasion. The paper is also is here hinted Prospero, affection for a daughter and his acumen and management skill to get back his kingdom. The exposition of human value restore the happiness in human life. Shakespeare, as we know, is a giant of English literature. He is also known as Bard of Avon. He was famous in the Elizabethan and the Jacobean era. His drama explored various shades of human character. His drama was about people in different manners. About the Tempest. The Tempest was one of the later play. The Tempest, considered to be the comedy, has several flaws. The many themes and symbols can be exposed in this play, along with many interesting character qualities having rolled by the dramatists. This drama was written in 1611, which was shortest play built around Bermuda shipwreck and New Scotland. For nostalgia, the etymology of nostalgia can enlighten us of the original meaning of the term. Although we must be careful not to deduce too much from the Greek element of it. Nostos means homecoming, ultimately from escape from surviving slavery, and those means pain. The term nostalgia was much more recent coinage by the pseudo-Greek Savile Rowan in The Future of Nostalgia points out it is nostalgically Greek. The word coined by James Hoffer in 1688 in his dissertation, where he talks about the medical drownage, like how this is used for treatment. In Nostalgia present in Tempest, Prospero narrates a story of his miseries to his daughter. Sir, can you see my screen? Sir, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you are audible, ma'am. Yes, yes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Yes. So, Prospero has a daughter, and he lived in this island for 12 years. At that time, Prospero was deeply interested in the study of magic. He spent most of his time in the activity of his magical powers. He did not care of his kingdom, but his supernatural power. His brother Antonio was very much selfish and scheming person who schemed to achieve his goal. He decided to murder him. Later, Antonio left his thought as he could be harmful. So there is a clinch of human values as well as going on in this paper, in this play, sorry. If the public could know of this misdeed of murder. Antonio family aimed to achieve the throne and he got it. But Antonio cleverly added some other person in his misdeed to murder the king and prove it to be natural death. So the father, so he says that that father was Duke of Milan and a prince of power. My brother and I uncle called Antonio. I pray thee and I am good. So there are human values elements are also there in the temple. Gensel, who come to know this conspiracy and help the king, he failed the consequence of Antonio, according to which some holes were made in the ship of Prospero, and he provided necessities to survive on the island. Uh, Prospero said, by providence divine, some food we had and some fresh water. I am good. So we can see that there is two characters, which are supernatural character here. Ariel, the spirit, whom he used to use by Prospero for his own living, and Caliban, who was the real hire of this island, was captivated by Prospero later. But Prospero not only taught him the language, but also taught the mannerism of the urban life. Miranda is the daughter of Prospero. She was not supposed to meet anybody else in her life because she was living here in this island with her father and this slave. So when she fell in love with Ferdinand, they both decided to get married. And here I would like to quote one of the writer who says that just a second. Begum Talgu, the first axis of being husband and wife is formed between Miranda and Ferdinand, and it is a romantic application, and their relationship comes because they belong to the noble parents. But before the marriage to be take place, Prospero take up a condition to Ferdinand that social sanctity to be maintained and love should not be made by Miranda and Ferdinand. So in this way, we find where Prospero frees Ariel forever. He also gave up his books as well as magic powers behind him. All the people return happily to their kingdom, and play takes at the end. The human values become victorious. So here I end my paper. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity and listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Is there any other participants who wish to present her paper? You are welcome. Otherwise, we will move to the last phase of this international conference, to the vote of thanks. Is there anyone who wants to present their paper? I hope no one is there. I would like to present a vote of thanks for the one-day international conference on William Shakespeare reimagined the perspectives on plays and poetry. First, I would like to thank my college principal, Dr. Bodke B.R. sir, for giving me this an opportunity to organize this international conference on William Shakespeare and chairing the session for all these two sessions. I would like to thank to the inaugurator of this today's international conference, Dr. Mallikarjunji Karagi sir, Director of NSS, Swami Ramanujit Marathoda Institute, Nanded. And also, sir is working as Associate Professor at Srimati Sushila Devi Deshmukh Senior College, Latur. I'm very much thankful for Dr. Mallikarjun Karadji, sir, for giving his valuable time. I would like to also thankful to the today's resource person, Dr. Angela Zini, ma'am. Ma'am, with in her busy schedule, ma'am has given her most valuable time to this international conference and guided us and told us about William Shakespeare's works and his adaptation in Bollywood films and also in the world, translation of his works in the world. Thank you so much for Angela Zaini ma'am for guiding us. And also I would like to thanks to the Akash Sadanand Naik for presenting his paper on use of Dhuni theory in Shakespearean literature. Dr. Manjula Agnihotri ma'am, she has also presented a paper on universal and psychological appeared in Shakespeare's plays. Also, the participant has presented paper Appa Ramchandra Londe. Sir has also presented his paper, Major Themes in Shakespeare's Sonnets. Manjusha Nerkar ma'am, she has also presented a paper. Rutuja Pradhan ma'am also presented a paper on understanding Shakespeare graphically. Ashok Bhosikar sir has also nicely presented his paper, Indianization of Shakespeare's Othello in Vishal Bharadwaj's movie Omkara. Also, Kranti Sharma ma'am she has also presented a paper on nostalgic for the homeland and the exposition of human values in Shakespeare's The Tempest. Last but not least, Silu Sengar ma'am, she has also presented a paper. And also, I would like to thank to all the participants, those who have given time and listened us carefully and patiently. Thank you so much. I would like to also thankful to Dr. Anand Somasi sir for head Department of English for giving me this an opportunity to organize this international conference. I would like to also thankful to all my colleagues, Dr. Sadashiv Oravate sir, Dr. Bharat Badade sir, Dr. Kanvate madam, Dr. Vittalji Chauhan sir, the vice principal of my college, Dr. Veernath Humnabade sir, Kamble sir, Professor Acharya sir, and all the colleagues of my teaching and non-teaching staff, those who have cooperated me directly or indirectly to success this international e-conference. I am very much thankful to each and everyone, also all the participants, and with the permission of chair, I conclude this meeting. Thank you so much, one and all. Thank you. If you have any feedback about this conference, please have some words with us. If anybody wants to give his feedback about this international conference, he can give online feedback now. They can unmute themselves and they can give their feedback. Okay, I will conclude the meeting. Thank you so much to one and all.